Hey guys, it's your co-host Jeremy here. Just wanted to let you know before this episode starts, we had a little audio faux pas on my part. I do apologize for that, but once it gets to the weekly blurb, we are running things back to normal. Other than that, enjoy the show.
Two guys in a mic with our producer. Step into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide. Two guys in a mic with our producer. Step into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.
What's a Blerd? That's a black guy who's also a nerd. Reading comics, watching anime. Haven't you heard? It's Jeremy J and Memoriam talking to Delirium. Naruto, then Marvel, then DC. Are you hearing him? Pop culture reverends pull them out periodically. We sync up movies with the comics canonically, and we watch a lot of TV. It's our virtual reality. I guarantee one day we'll have a TV show on NBC.
Two guys in a mic with our producer. Step into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide. Two guys in a mic with our producer. Step into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.
It's the Blerd Survival Guide. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.
Okay. All right, we ready?
Yeah.
All right. What's up, everybody?
Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of Blerd Survival Guide. I am Jeremy.
I'm your co-host, Jay.
And welcome again to another episode of Blerd Survival Guide. How you doing, Jay?
Man, I am feeling great, honestly. I am excited for the week ahead. I spent the weekend, hanging out with you.
Ooh, yeah.
Got to spend some time with Memoriam.
Woo!
And I got to play a round of golf this weekend.
Woo!
So feel like I got to do all the social things, all the physical exercise things that get me ready for the week, and I am excited. How are you?
I am pretty good. I did have a impromptu little night shindig
You did.
with a bunch of John's friends before he goes away, and still recovering, I would say, from that. But
It's good to have one of those impromptu get-togethers, hootenannies, from time to time. We haven't done that, really since
Halloween.
Well, that wasn't an impromptu.
Oh no, that was promptu.
We ain't done that since like COVID, for real.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's nice to get together with folks who are vaccinated and acting responsible, and it was fun. I thought we played some beer pong.
We played beer pong. We played
Mario Kart.
Man.
Yeah.
I dominated. You won't disrespect me in my house. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, we owned it. You owned it for sure.
Hey, I tried to. And yeah. But
What are we gonna talk about today?
well, it's more of a somber, solemn episode this week. We're gonna reflect on black celebrities that have gone on to the Hollywood in the sky. It's a in memoriam episode of.
It doesn't have to be solemn.
It doesn't have to be solemn. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Death isn't always a solemn event. It's a celebration of life, and that's what we want to do on this podcast today. Is discuss some of these characters, actors, writers, directors, who have you, that have affected us in our lives that are unfortunately no longer with us, and that just goes from time and time again how we are developed as a community. You can lose someone as power, like you may not even know that person, but like once you've lost them, it just kind of hits you in the feels.
I mean, starting off out the gate, I mean, and I often kind of think about this as like a keystone moment for us in starting this podcast, which was the death of Chadwick Boseman.
Oh yeah.
And,
oh yeah.
I mean, I know that it happened in May of 2020, and we launched our podcast in January of 2021.
Yeah, it just, I know his death marked a pivotal point in the community for everybody. That was just a toll that took on the world.
Yeah.
More so in the black community because we finally had one of the first black actors, superheroes that like went out the gate, became one of the most popular characters in Marvel universe. Period.
Yeah.
Like we've had when Black Panther came out in the theaters, you would have groups. There's videos on like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube of like people in full African garb, like dashikis and traditional African formal wear, and they're literally dancing into the theater, or they're outside the theater post the movie and like nothing but rave reviews and dancing and just cheering because we have this entire celebration. It's a celebration that we've got this movie.
For the culture.
It was, and not to put a dour note on his life, but like I think that's how we should be doing with the new Shang-Chi movie coming out as well, because it's like you have the whole Asian representation. You're having your first Asian superhero from Marvel that's going to be in the movies, and the main character Simu Liu, he's pushing for it, like about as bad as Chadwick Boseman was. He was
moving for the culture, moving for the visibility, moving for the movement.
Yeah,
like,
and
to make sure that,
especially after everything that's been going through with the Asian community, like this needs to be big.
That kind of moment.
Yeah,
and I mean that's the thing, right? It's like it's that impact, and it's that level of visibility that, I mean, so I come from a biracial family, and when I saw like the diaspora on this full display of like African culture and like experience on display on the film, like on the silver screen,
right.
It was a moment for me that really it was just very validating.
Oh, definitely.
And my family still doesn't get that. Like they didn't understand like how it resonated with me as a band that was primarily raised in white culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to see this, and like never have I ever seen this before, like this. Like obviously we've got those, what's the movie on Disney Channel, the Disney Channel original movie, Up and Away.
Oh yeah.
It was the black superhero.
Yeah.
Like I mean that was one thing, but it wasn't the same thing. It wasn't the same.
Nah,
thing.
I mean it was a cultural moment as well. I mean, you like that was the first black superhero movie that like
for real.
that had some impact on that generation. But I mean, Black Panther, you got your first big budget $100+ million movie.
Like 98% black cast.
Black cast, and the crew is black. That's the first time Marvel did a full black cast, black crew. That really solidified that, hey, we can make movies too.
And Chadwick Boseman sat at the spearhead of that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's the figure for that. And I mean, and so that's why I'm glad that we're talking about legends that are like him in this podcast.
Oh, of course. Yeah, but that just kind of like that first Chadwick Boseman, that first one that you mentioned, it set off. It really does set up an event, a list of people that we can just kind of go through this episode that like really impacted us. One other person that I said that recently has passed away, Kobe Bryant.
Man,
that
Mamba mentality.
It rocked me almost to my core because I remember exactly where I was. I remember where I was when it happened, and it was my sister's birthday, and we were in Tennessee.
I was fishing with my grandfather.
Yeah, and we were at a pizza place. And it was like a little local pizza place, and I just looked at the TV, and it said that like Kobe Bryant and daughter died in a helicopter crash, and I'm just like, no, that's not real. That's not happened.
I got a news notification on my iPhone, right? And I looked down at it, and I think maybe it was BuzzFeed, right? And like which.
I'm pretty sure I called you and told you.
No, I called you.
Oh, that's right. You did call me. You're right. You did call me.
Going back and forth,
We got to the bank after fishing all morning. And I get this notification on my phone because I'm back in service, and it says Kobe Bryant has died. And I was like, It was like the same feeling I got. It's very similar feeling I got to when I heard that Michael Jackson had died.
Right, it's one of those like this can't happen. Like
he's like 30-something years. Like he's young.
Yeah,
he's young.
Yeah,
there was nothing that made sense about
no health issues. Perfect, pristine human being, great father, great basketball player,
he's a gold star athlete, right?
And but
healthfully.
Yeah, but this happens, and it's just like it's one of those. I'm like, not even trying to joke about it. Like, I can't believe it's not buttercup deals. It's like you just don't. Yeah, you just don't expect things like that to happen, and it just did, and it just happened.
I mean, it's one of those situations when you realize that life is short. Life is something that could be over at any moment for any single person, and like even it doesn't matter what status you have reached. Mm-hmm. We all gonna end up in the same place.
Anything can happen,
and it can happen at any moment. And I mean, the life that Kobe lived, right? I think is, in large part exemplary. I mean, it definitely wasn't without hiccup because people have had to address the sexual misconduct that he was accused of.
Right.
Early on in his career with the Lakers.
Right.
But at the same time, we've all been impacted by this man's not only like his story, well, really just his story, because like he had the rise to fame, he had the fall from grace, and then he had the recovery, and then he had a redemption arc. Like we all love a good redemption.
The man is a whole phoenix,
and I mean it's something that is, I think, in our generation, it's a lesson that we can all learn, which is to give people second chances.
Definitely, and yeah, definitely.
Because like what can happen when you give someone a second chance is they live their life amazingly
and to the fullest,
and in a way that positively impacts the community.
Right. Who else do you have on your list?
I've got a few more, that I've just stored away and been reflecting on a little bit the past couple days. But John Lewis passed away this year.
He did. Great director.
Past year. And I mean, great man. This is a man who spearheaded the 1965 civil rights movement. And walked across Edmund Pettus Bridge, which is in Alabama, and was victim to state-sanctioned violence, all in the name of all in the name of black people having a voice. And
truly a man for the culture. Truly.
He's a legend. There's no denying that. And he leaves a legacy that, not unlike Chadwick Boseman, not unlike Kobe Bryant, is one that should be looked at as one of significance and one of positivity, I think.
Yeah. No, he definitely left a mark on not just his state, but this country as a whole. Like, I mean, walking alongside Martin Luther King, all the way up to changing, like being arrested recently with because I had a friend who I was on the step team with, was arrested alongside him.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We still live in civil rights. It's
right.
we're still working through it. We're still fighting for them, and it's almost seems like it's going to be a never-ending war.
I don't know about you, but like when I heard about the death of John Lewis, it was one of those time to pick up the torch moments for me.
Oh yeah, it was definitely like a
time to put on your big boy pants and take some things serious and go to work.
Because we're not kids anymore.
No, we're not.
We just don't.
Even though we watch cartoons and talk about it all.
But we've gone from learning about this man, like going to the Civil Rights Museum in Birmingham and learning about him, learning about Martin Luther King, learning about the whole Civil Rights Movement. We've gone from learning that to living it. And we're in a present day Civil Rights Movement, if I should say something like that. Yeah. But him passing, like you said, him passing was a literal passing of the torch from one generation to the next. It's now our turn to stand up for what we believe in, stand up to the oppression that we are going through, stand up to literally the world.
Yep.
As black people, as people of color in this country.
And I mean, it sparks so many different conversations about what it means to take up the torch,
the mantle.
The mantle.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to go into everything about it because I mean, there's so much there, to unpack.
Countless things to go through with it.
As to what that looks like. But all I know is we have the examples of so many different people and so many people that have passed on. So I know that you have a rather extensive list to go through. So please tell us, who are some of the heroes that we have lost that you are looking for?
These are past. They're not recent. They're more have gone on in the past. But also I kind of done research to see who has passed that may not have been an impact on me, but was an impact on a lot of people when it happened. And I'll probably go back and forth between male and female. Starting first with Gary Coleman.
Oh.
And I mean
icon.
Yeah. What you talking about, Willis? But yeah, he grew up and he didn't grow per se, but he did grow up and we grew up with him. Yeah, I know I didn't mean to make that joke. Sorry. He did grow up mentally. But he was a very funny man.
He was. He would have appreciated that joke, I think.
Yes. And no, he was one of the greater actors that came out of the 70s, 80s, 90s.
I mean, he was prime time sitcom era, right? Like as a boy, and then later on in his career as a young adult, people just like gravitated toward Gary Coleman.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that charming personality.
I'm just sure that there are so many fun stories about him in Hollywood because he was a child star that grew up and didn't, bottom out, but as many child stars do.
Go crazy. Yeah. But that's one of them. One that a lot of us may know but may not know. Michelle Thomas. She was on Family Matters. She played Steve Urkel's girlfriend.
Like the
other girl, the one who was like as nerdy as Steve, but like she was insanely beautiful.
And she was,
and a lot of people think that he should have ended up with her.
Had he been like, I hear that. Oh wow.
Yeah.
What? She passed away.
Yeah, she actually passed away like back in the 90s still.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if it was I can't remember if it was like health issues or what, but she passed away and it shocked fans. It shocked the world.
I mean, she was so young.
Exactly.
And, she played that role that was unappreciated, I think, until after you look back.
Oh, definitely. And like I said, when I'm watching these reruns, I still feel like that Steve should have ended up with her, not Laura.
Well, I mean, so did Steve. You have to tell me this, because was it not Stefan that ended up with Laura and Steve that ended up with?
No, they never separate, or they did at one point. I think they did separate the bodies of Stefan and Steve.
They did,
and
Steve became like a model and stuff.
Yeah, but Stefan left, and Laura did end up with Steve. She wound up finally figuring out I'm actually in love with Steve Urkel, not Stefan. I don't want to be. Yeah,
I hear that.
It was like an inside account, but still everybody wanted Steve to fall in love and end up with.
Well, that's just
her name was Myra in the show.
Myra. Yeah. I remember her.
Yeah. I guess last two, and then I'm gonna switch it on over to you, my friend, is James Avery, aka Uncle Phil.
Mm-hmm. We couldn't close this episode out without mentioning James Avery, the legendary James Avery.
I mean, literally, Uncle Phil. That J. Cole mentioned him in songs.
I mean,
the guy's played Uncle Phil for years. He also was Shredder in one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles iterations.
He played, and I'm pretty sure he played in Boys in the Hood too. I'm sure he had a role in that.
Had to have. And then also he was, I think one of the more recent / not even last roles, but one of the more recent roles was not Caddyshack. Who's Your Caddy?
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, because he was like he was telling Big Boy's character that like he used to play with his father.
Oh.
And that his father was like this main guy that like knew how to play golf and was one of the greatest golfers, but like couldn't play because he would have been the first black golfer on the course.
That's a good movie, by the way.
It was a great movie.
That movie is actually a lot of fun because Big Boy's dad was like the groundskeeper.
Mm-hmm, but also ended up being the greatest golfer on that course.
He had the golf record. He had the course record.
Yeah.
And the white guy was like, no, you don't have the course record. I have the course record. It was some racism BS,
That movie is deeper than people give it credit
I
for.
completely agree. I mean, you got a Southern rapper out here making a movie about golf. Like that's poignant.
Yep.
I don't care who you are.
Then last on my list, she did pass more recently was Cicely Tyson. The matriarch of the Madea movies. You remember Medea's Family Reunion, the eldest, and she was the African American Betty White.
She would smoke weed, and she was
But she's essentially the African American Betty White. Like no one thought she would die. She was immortal, and she is immortal because she is a legend. She's been acting since she was in her early 20s. She lived to the great age of like 96. Yeah.
What? Mm-hmm. Well, she was so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she tore it up. Like, I have Medea's Big Happy Family is one of those movies that just sticks in your head after the first time you see it. Like, you just cannot forget that twist or anything.
Well, it's hard for us to find a black creator movie she was not in.
They had they had her featured prominently, especially
And I think someone else who was in that film passed away as well in 2020. Natalie Reed.
Oh yeah,
she plays one of the sisters.
That's like mean to her husband.
Mean to her husband, and I mean, no, I'm not all very familiar with everything that she has been in her catalog, but her role in that film always left an impact because I mean I'm sure she's just the most wonderful person in real life, but in that role she was terrible, man. She treated her husband bad. She treated her kids were all a mess and everything.
Yeah,
but there was because Tyler Perry and how he does movies, there's always a lesson to be learned. Her lesson was that she needed to let someone love her, which I think is honestly a lesson for everybody to learn. That's something that's hard for a lot of people to do in the first place because toxicity and trauma.
Very true.
Which was abundant in Medea's Big Happy Family. That movie is all about family trauma.
And how to go through it. And they went through it.
They
went through it.
The only way out is through, right?
Always. Always.
But that's my list. This episode is I want us to make sure that we're just reflecting, I think, is the big deal around this episode for me.
Mm-hmm.
Is because, if we're not taking time to acknowledge the people that came before us, then we can spend a lot of time trying to make the future. Because if we don't know where we came from, then you don't
know where you're going.
And you're doomed to make the mistakes of the past.
Yeah, history is doomed to repeat itself a lot.
It is. And sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. It's just about the lessons you learn along the way.
Very true. But we can go on and on.
As always.
And what we're going to do now is take a quick break, and you're going to hear a word from our sponsor, Anchor, and then we will be right back with the weekly blurb. We'll be right back, guys. Welcome back. You guys know what time it is. It's time for the and it's Maui, you go first.
Oh, you go ahead. I've got something to say at the end, so it's cool.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna circle it back around to our initial plot point of the episode with in Memoriam. I want to talk about one of Chadwick Boseman's last roles.
Oh, yeah.
And it's on Marvel's What If. His episode that just came out last
It's his last role as Black Panther or T'Challa.
This is his last role, period. That's the last recording role, last role that he's ever, last role ever that we will see of Chadwick Boseman.
Let's take that moment.
Okay. But no, that episode just came out, and it was, I know we're only 2 episodes in of Marvel's What If, but it is definitely my favorite. I
definitely may have checked it today just to see if there's another one.
But no, it's because the execs over at Disney Plus said that he's going to be in about 3 or 4 episodes. It's not apparently Marvel's What If is not an anthology series. It is it's a cohesive storyline. We're just getting bit by bit first. It's almost like WandaVision, but we're just getting bit by bit first, and then it's going to overarch because there are previews of like Captain Carter meeting up with Doctor Strange in the show. So
fascinating.
We'll see how that ends up.
Yeah.
But back to Chadwick's role as T'Challa. What if T'Challa was Star-Lord is the name of that episode.
Such a cool episode.
Such a great episode. Spoilers are Spoilers ahead if you haven't seen it. But this episode, quick synopsis, is literally what the title implies. What if T'Challa, a.k.a. Black Panther, was Star-Lord? Which means, what if he was taken by on the spaceship by Yondu instead of Peter Quill? And we get to see that playing out. And from the get-go, you can already tell that it's going to be different in terms of how Peter Quill Star-Lord was treated as opposed to T'Challa.
Star-Lord, yeah.
And you see it in the beginning where it's just like, you may know who I am. And he walks up, you see him in the light, and instead of him saying Star-Lord, it's Jimon Hansu, his character, from the Korath.
Yeah. Okay.
And he immediately just like, oh my God, you're Star-Lord! And it's like,
just immediately gives him all the props.
Yeah, and it's just like, that is not the name I would usually go by. Like, it's a nickname that he doesn't like, but it still is.
It's unlike Peter Quill, who gave himself the nickname.
Please call me this. I want to be called Star-Lord. But no, like
it's all the respect that Peter Quill ever wanted.
Yeah, exactly. But with T'Challa's Star-Lord, he is more of a space Robin Hood.
Yeah.
It's one of those take from the rich, give to the poor kind of deals.
It's funny. It's really cool because it's like those Killmonger traits and personalities that inside of T'Challa.
Right. It's like, I want to get back to the world. How do I get back to the community? But I'm stuck inside this bubble. And it's like, well, instead of being stuck inside this bubble, you're going to be traveling the universe, my friend.
Yeah.
And no, the whole episode, it was well written, funny, twisted points because Thanos popped out of nowhere.
Bro, no one saw that coming.
It was like, wait, Thanos is a good guy? That's what had me.
He's a Ravager?
That's what had
really?
me.
It's just...
And literally, we're in a universe, and these are canonized universes because this is happening after Loki has released the freaking multiverse.
Right.
So this is canonized. We have a good Thanos. We have a Thanos that was talked down by T'Challa.
Literally.
Nobody could do it.
It was gonna be Black Panther.
I mean, this man has that talk no jutsu, fam.
Basically,
you know what I'm saying? Like he knows how to bring it all together.
But it's funny because they pointed out throughout the episode, just like, that's genocide. What you were trying to do? It was like, well, it was a means to an end.
What was funny is like
you were killing people. Especially when he got to
Wakanda, and they're just having the conversation about
Okoye was just like, I'm pretty sure that's genocide.
Like, pretty sure.
But the thing is, like, the stark contrast between Thanos of the main continuity and the Thanos of the What If, it's like, you see this Thanos, it's like, he's petting a dog, he's smiling, like, with a genuine smile, he's nice, he's charismatic, he's funny. I'm like, good Lord.
And like, but the thing is like, he's still like in that, he still has that idea in the back of his head. He's like, it wasn't a bad idea. And everybody's like, nah, fam, that was genocide.
You tried to kill half the universe.
But random.
Yeah.
So it's not genocide because it was random.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my little rationalized. Yeah, I'm saying that's my little Thanos tangent in the What If episode. But like Chadwick Boseman, his performance, I mean, off the charts.
I mean,
amazing.
It just makes you grateful for what he left us with, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, and we still have at least 3 more episodes that he's going to be in, so we're going to see how this plans out.
I thought, like you said, it was like his final performance, but I thought that because I thought it was a one-off.
Right. No, it's not an anthology series. Thank God. It's going to tie in. So we're probably going to see like probably at the end of this series, almost like an Avengers Endgame type of deal, but instead of it being Thanos, I think it's theorized it's supposed to be like or I've seen concept art of pictures. I think it's Ultron.
Oh,
it's like if Ultron made it to his final form, like in Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we may be getting into that.
That's
that
all these what ifs, man.
Exactly.
All the what ifs.
But yeah, that's my weekly blurb. We are looking forward to the rest of this season of Marvel's What If. It does come out every Wednesday, like every Marvel TV show does now. So expect us to talk about it once it gets more interesting. I mean, it's very interesting. We're just not going to talk on it like we talked about Loki, but when we get there, we will get there. And that's my weekly blurb. Jay, what you got for us today?
Well, thank you very much for your weekly blurb, Jeremy.
You're welcome. Not
to bring down the vibe anymore, but I'm going to go on a rant.
It's a rant time.
Man, we have spent the entirety of this podcast, this void that we operate in a pandemic, in a panini press, in a Panera Bread.
In a peninsula?
And I am over it. God, I'm over it. Because honestly, you and I did the things that everybody said that we were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You, me, and Miriam did all the things that we were told that we were supposed to do.
We were self-quarantined on that. Like, when we first started, like, we quarantined on vacation.
We literally went to the furthest reaches of Alabama to escape all the people.
And ain't nobody was down there.
No, not an asshole.
Nobody.
And, dude, it was supposed to be done and over with. And now we have these people who are vaccine resistant, vaccine deniers, or full anti-vax.
Anti-vax, anti-mask,
anti-American. And it escapes me how inconsiderate you could be of other people. Is really what it was. Because, like, I mean, I understand if someone has a pre-existing condition. I can understand if, like, their doctor told them that they shouldn't get the vaccine, so they won't get the vaccine. But, I mean, that makes sense.
That's your medical physician.
That makes sense.
Handwritten note saying, "Yo, they can't get this because problems."
Yeah, but you have all these people in the world who are adamant that it's going to affect them negatively, despite what the doctors say, because
implant a tracking chip.
They're just latching onto like these segmented, like not statistically significant cases of negative side effects happening to people that get the vaccine, and they're using them to like. It's just justify their denial, and it's one of those things that I want to harp on because I have an 82-year-old grandfather, mm-hmm. and I had a grandmother that I couldn't see during a stint with her physical rehabilitation,
right?
During COVID because of the pandemic.
Because of the pandemic, yeah, you couldn't virtually
I have had family members die of COVID. I have had, my great aunt died of COVID, like the literal matriarch of our family.
Oh, wow.
Got COVID because she had to go into the hospital and left the hospital, and then she got COVID, and then she pretty much, it was all downhill. It was exactly. Wow. And people in my family still refuse to mask up or get the vaccination because they just don't believe that what is happening
is happening.
And yeah. I'm like, what matrix void do you live in where this is? They got the dang Delta variant. Like my aunt and my uncle both got the Delta variant and still won't outright say that they're going to get the vaccine. And I'm just sitting here stunned and amazed that people so close to me that this is my grandfather's daughter mm-hmm. that's not getting the vaccine. Like,
your granddad he got the vaccine, right?
Yeah, my granddad's fully vaxxed. Yeah. Like, he was like, I'm not playing about this.
Which still in turn, you can still contract COVID with the vaccination.
Exactly.
But you being vaccinated helps to prevent you getting it easily.
Right.
And also your symptoms.
Like, okay, so
your symptoms are not as nearly as bad.
So This happened to me. My mother came home to stay with us over a weekend, mm-hmm. right? And while she was staying with us, she went to go visit with some friends, and she contracted COVID.
Wow.
so me and my granddad were exposed.
Yeah.
I immediately was like, we got to get a COVID test.
Yeah, no,
that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was still some apprehension for my granddad to doing that because I was like, because we're vaccinated, right?
No.
But I'm like, no, we can still get it, and we might not even know we have it and pass it and spread it and pass it on.
Right.
You quarantine.
Right.
Until you got your results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we did what we were supposed to do.
You did what you're supposed to do. I mean, you're negative. We're here in person.
Precisely.
Each other because you are negative. You've done everything correctly.
Exactly.
And we're good.
Exactly.
You've done it. You're vaccinated. You were open to it because mom went and hung out with friends and came back. You did everything correctly, and you're good. That's how easy it is. It took you all of 3 weeks,
dude. I got a test scheduled and answered in under 5 days. Like, it was that simple and that like integral to my life that I did it, and I just don't. I'm tired of being where we're at, and I'm tired of knowing what the right things to do are, and people still denying that and still refusing to do it
because it's their God-given right.
It's selfish.
Well, and we live in Alabama, the state that has the most surge right now, and our hospitals have 0 beds.
And 30% vaccination rate.
Not even. Or Birmingham is at 13%.
Jesus.
Really? That's terrible. All right, but all that to say, I'm here to encourage anybody that listens to our podcast, if they're not vaccinated, to get vaccinated. It could save your life. It could save your friend's life. It could save your neighbor's life.
If you do listen, share. If you don't want to share the whole episode with your friends, share this part. Because this is vital to the country, this is vital to the world for us to get back to a sense of some type of normalcy. It doesn't have to be the normalcy that we previously had, but I want to get back to a normalcy where I can safely go outside, not have to worry about wearing a mask, and enjoying my day.
And I also want to say that if we have listeners that do not believe in getting the vaccination, I hope that they can reach out. They know that they can reach out to us as a listening ear and a person that can have a group of people that can have a conversation with an individual and not shame them for their thoughts.
Right. No.
Because at the end of the day, yes, you do have the right to choose. You are an individual. You have right to self-determination, and I firmly believe that. But also, we have to do things that protect the community. We have to do things that are better, that are not for just us, but better for the well-being of everybody.
Exactly. And Jay, I appreciate that rap. That was beautiful. I appreciate everything that we've done today in regards to the episode. I appreciate that everyone in this room is vaccinated and that we're treating this with some kind of seriousness.
Without a doubt.
And again, we can go on and on about the safety of the world, but we have to save that for another week.
Right.
But remember, guys, you can always reach out to us. Thank you guys for listening to our episode. If you do have any suggestions on any blerds that we've missed in the actual meat of the episode, let us know on our social media platforms.
Please.
If you want to talk to us about vaccinations, getting vaccinated, or if you have any opposed ideologies about it, let us know. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. Let us know, comment, DM us, whatever you need to do. Throw a rock at our window. Please don't do that because I like my window. But follow us, like I said, on Facebook at Blerd Survival Guide, on Instagram at Blerd Survival Guide, on Twitter at Blerd Guide, and you can email us at blerdsurvivalguide@gmail.com.
And now you can follow us on TikTok.
We are now on TikTok at Blerd Guide. Yeah. But definitely follow us on that. You can follow us also on our personals at JBear3295
and at JDub0283.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening.
All we have to say is,
please get vaccinated and keep
Keep
on
surviving.
surviving. Listen to the theme song.
Two guys and a mic with our producer. Step into the spotlight, survivalist troopers. Come and take a seat with the combo we provide every Tuesday. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.
It's the Blerd Survival Guide. It's the Blerd Survival Guide.